These are my tomatoes here. They're all about 2 or 3 feet tall and they're starting to fall over. I have my second son, nearly the next to the oldest. He cut me a bunch of these stakes. I told him I'd give him a little bit for him for cutting them. They're just sticks. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here, and I had an old ratted out shirt. Went in here and I tore the rings, about 1.5 inch wide strips for my tie to tie my tomatoes with. I'm going to get everything available here where I can reach it real easy. And I'll start staking tomatoes. We'll see how it goes. I think I got enough stakes. But I also have some tomatoes behind the camera that you can't see. But anyway, we'll go from the... All right. So what I'm going to do here with this first tomato plant, I'm going to take my cloth and I'm going to cut it in half because I don't need that much for a tie. And this shirt, believe me, it's been stitched up 2 or 3 times. Anyway, this tomato plant, I don't like to thin my tomato plants that much. I like to just let them grow. And I'm going to come in here, just down below one of these branches. I'm going to put a really loose tie on it. Not very much at all. If you tie it too tight, you'll cut it. You don't want to cut it, you want to let it grow. So you want to come in here, I have another smaller tomato plant down here below it, and I'm going to tie it. If you grow your plants in such a way that you have 2 or 3 tomato plants around a stake, like, I don't know if you can see these here, but these here, there's 3 plants right there where I can get them on a stake. This one here, I've got 2 plants on a stake. And when I put this one here, I'll have 3 on it. So I'll get another stake. Some of these stakes are going to be smaller than others because we were clearing fence row. And we just don't like to let stuff go to waste. So we get stuff that's going to be discarded anyway and use it. Same thing goes here. Cut your probably cut it in thirds here on this one. And just set it to the side. You can come in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take there's 3 plants here. We're going to take them, don't pull on them too much. Come around here. Tie them up. All right, now we got another plant here. And these the little cotton rags, they'll rot after a while. You won't get but 1 season out of them most of the time. If you find weeds like that, pull them. You can drop them in the garden or throw them out of the garden, however you like. All right, that's 3 plants on this stick, and I'm going to come up here, up above where this bigger plant is. I'm going to put another one because I want it to kind of grow up. And you see, if you that branch is stuck. If you can't get your finger in here between it and the thing, you're too tight because it's going to get, that stalk will get thicker. And let's see if I can swivel you over there. Yes. So I don't know if you can see this tie, but see, I can get my finger in there like that. And that stalk's going to get thicker, and once it does, you don't want it binding. I brought you down a little closer where you can see the what I'm doing, kind of a little closer up. So this is these are the tomato plants. See, there's one here, and one here. And I'm going to tilt it down because I think it's going to be down here. Let's see. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring this tomato plant in, bring all these tomato plants in and get them under one ribbon. And basically, instead of a cage, you're kind of just constraining them to growing up so they can have some support. And see, I've just put one on that, and that's actually enough for this because these plants aren't so much higher than that one. But see, I've still got, I mean, they can go either way. They got plenty of room around that, and the stake just keeps it upright. So I'm going to move over here. I have some plants over here. So we'll move over a little bit. And see, those are laying on the ground. And we'll put another stake in. And we'll put this stake right in here. Actually, I'm going to trim that little tag off of this. And we're going to put that stake. So I have peppers in here too. And the peppers, there's grass too. And weeds. But the peppers are in here with everything. You got to make sure that you don't pull something you want to keep. Best thing to do is let them grow up a little bit before you start weeding. Then you can weed without worrying about pulling stuff that you don't know about. If you know what it is, then pulling it's not an issue. See, I just pulled all that. I'll throw them a lot of times in the path. Let's see here, we've got this one here can be on this one. These are kind of trailing over this way, and they really need to be over above their roots. Let's see, we'll tie this one here. We're going to put a second tie on this one. Alright. And nothing particular about the knots. It's not important. As long as it just kind of securely holds it. So we'll come in here. I kind of like my tomatoes to be like a bush. You have a bunch of tomatoes in one plant. They kind of keep the ground shaded, and it allows the moisture to kind of stay under the plants. If you have too much sunlight getting under your plants, the ground dries up. Then you don't have that's why even sometimes the weeds can help. All right, let's see, I'm gonna pick y'all up and show you what's going on. Anyway, so what I got here is my tomato stakes, and that's gonna be irritating on camera, all that vibration and everything. Let's see, they're tied up. If you hear my chickens going crazy, it's because I got one hen that's kind of not too bright, and she's always trying to find something to throw a fit about. And it's never anything important. Let's see here. I'm gonna put these stakes in, and then have to go get some rags. Anyway, she gets the roosters going, the rooster going, and there's no real reason. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I thought about eating her just because she's annoying. But anyway, so we're gonna come in here, and even though these tomatoes are in pretty decent shape as far as straight, they're running straight, we're gonna come in here and tie them so that when they get tomatoes on them, they'll be supported. And these are black cherry tomatoes. And we're going to come in here and we'll tie them twice and then let them grow up. They grow differently than those other ones. I think those other ones are San Marzano or San Marzano, something like that. These here, the other side of the garden path, and I've got one little one down there I'll have to end up coming back and staking, but right now It's not an issue. The importance of carrying a belt knife so that you can do stuff. I make knives, and you got to carry a belt knife, just the way it is. Belt knives win when it comes into knives, except for concealment. You got to carry something where nobody can see it. A folding knife's better, but even then, you can get away with a belt knife in a lot of situations. This bed down here in front, I don't know if you can see it. I'll get in here and do a scroll around and show the garden, but these 3 tomato plants are now staked. It was that easy. It wasn't hard at all. If you got good dirt, you can just push the stakes in. So I'm gonna scroll around the garden here for a second. Excuse the shakiness. I'm gonna try and make it as gentle as possible. There's my black cherry tomatoes. Down below here, there's some beets, and with all of the weeds right here, all these plants that are flowering here, that's radishes, French breakfast radishes. Excellent stuff. I'm gonna try and save seeds this year. On down here, right in here, those are sweet peas. Towards the end of this bed, where it ends up down here, is a bed of kale. My chickens are at the end of the garden over there, throwing a fit for no real reason. Those are peach trees, and I'm going to keep them pruned down so they don't shade anything. As you can see, I have shade over here in a line, and that's because I have a clearing east-west on my property, and the trees on that end shade that into the garden somewhat, so it's partial shade, and the peach trees are not going to be that big a deal. Right here is they're strawberries in that old stump, and they just spread, and I dig them up when they vine out and reroot, and I just put them other places. Right in here is the tomatoes we staked earlier in the video, and around the edges of the bed there's garlic, and right in here there's peppers, and then over here these are butter beans, and they're doing excellent. And then as you can see right here is where my asparagus was. That's all ferned out and ready to go to seed. We ate a bunch of asparagus this spring already, and in the bottom edge of this bed there's some pepper plants and stuff like that. But I did have over here on the other side here, I had pink-eyed peas growing, but that's the first time I planted that section, and it was very hard ground, and the pink-eyed peas did not take. There's only a couple plants. I think I can see one right here that's still growing, but there's not that many plants in there. I probably will have to try it again next year. Year before last, I had pink-eyed peas in the bed here with the beets, and they did great. I had tons of pink-eyed peas, but it just depends on where you're planting. I do have some potato plants over beyond the sweet peas. There's a hill of potato plants, but that's the garden so far.